Hey, welcome to another video. So today we're going to be talking about Vader's corruption of Sabe, but before I begin, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, let's jump straight into it. As the Force wave vanished for the time being, Vader returned to the Executor and meditated, reflecting on Kenobi's words that only a Sith dealt in absolutes, and declared that no one in the galaxy should forget his allegiance. Afterwards, Vader had Piet contact the recently returned Ochi, who had returned to the Executor with Sabe, to bring Sabe into a room aboard the ship. Within, Vader had also summoned Sabe's recently assigned personal guards, Stormtroopers KA-336 and KV-222. Both troopers had broken protocol by openly speaking about her classified assignment, with Vader demanding the woman before him kill them both, with a nearby E-11 blaster rifle as punishment. In truth, Vader suspected that a woman was not Sabe, but another one of Amidala's surviving handmaidens, and was testing that theory. Vader also created a struggle when he urged the troops to run for the blaster. Sabe grabbed it first and fired at them, injuring both but leaving them alive. This confirmed Vader's suspicion that this was not Sabe, and instead another handmaiden, Dorme. Lifted into the air via a force choke, Dorme claimed that Sabe wouldn't have killed them, which Vader declared meant Dorme did not know Sabe at all. Upon realizing that Ochi had helped her get inside as part of a scheme to get rid of Sabe, whom Ochi saw as a rival, Vader threw Ochi into a wall and told Dorme that Sabe served him willingly. Dorme denied Vader's claim, saying Sabe was the best of them. To this, Vader brought her to a hangar and told her she should follow Sabe's lead by claiming the same power. When Ochi advised against this, Vader tossed him aside, saying he simply needed her to serve his purpose. Dorme stated once again that neither she nor Sabe would serve Vader. Vader then said they would before he took her aboard a Lambda-class TA shuttle and traveled to the planet Fidel. Shortly after, Dorme's fellow handmaidens Irte, Sashay, and Rabe Tonsort arrived on the planet. When Dorme insisted they go after Sabe instead, the handmaidens told her they wouldn't leave her as they engaged Vader in combat. Despite their coordination, the handmaidens were subdued by Vader, who gave them one final chance to join him. However, Sashay revealed that Irte had seized codes from Vader's suit during the fight, allowing the handmaidens to complete Dorme's sabotage of the Executor. Before they could destroy Vader's flagship, which would kill thousands in the name of rescuing Sabe and defeating Vader, Vader declared they were just as bloodthirsty as he needed them to be to join him. However, he was contacted by Piet, who showed him a transmission from Tambor. After arriving on the planet Brental 4, Sabe had confronted Tambor while he was helping out a village of exiled Skakoans, urging him not to go up against Vader and declaring that the Sith Lord had only grown more dangerous since her own failed attempts on Polis Massa. She was certain that Tambor's efforts against Vader would fail, and that the Sith Lord would slaughter the hundreds of Skakoans on Brental 4 in retaliation. Unable to convince Tambor to call off his coming attack to the Skato minor garrison, Sabe shot him above his heart, keeping him alive but allowing her to take him away to a ship controlled by her and Z-67. Aboard, Tambor listened to her reasoning about the danger Vader posed, and declared that it was time to kill the Sith Lord. Capturing Sabe after his rebuilt droids reached the starship. After showing Sabe video footage of Vader, Tambor sent out a hologram to Vader, in which he revealed her capture and baited him to come after him. While fully aware of the Sith Lord's ruthlessness, and not doubting Vader's willingness to slaughter his refugee camp in retaliation, the Skakoan had come to believe that Sabe was Vader's weakness, which would finally give him an advantage over the Dark Lord. On Fidel, realizing they would need Vader and his forces to stage a daring rescue, the handmaidens reluctantly joined Vader to go after Tambor, much to Ochi's annoyance. The group returned to the Executor aboard his Lambda shuttle, and eventually left for Brental 4. The other handmaidens fled, but you are here, stronger, and you will become stronger still. They only left because I kept my secret, your secret. If I'd told them what really happened to Anakin Skywalker, they would never have escaped. I know my sisters will always think of me with grief, and they will always wonder what happened here, but they will go back to their lives and their loves. This way, only one of us has to lose their soul. Darth Vader and Sabe after the fall of Joel Tambor. After reaching Brental 4 via a Lambda-class shuttle with the handmaidens and Z-67, Vader reflected on his last meeting with Amidala on Mustafar, and how he wished it had gone, privately declaring to himself that he would have finally had his idealized outcome. He also saw it as a way to have his idealized version of the duel on Bespin privately compared to the situation to him reaching out to Luke Skywalker. Entering a building on World, Vader and the Handmaidens were met by Moore, who explained with Vader how each of the Handmaidens could benefit from serving the Empire and the Sith Lord. With none of the four agreed to his demands, he telekinetically threw all four outside through an opening created by Tambor's forces, who had tracked down the Sith Lord and his reluctant allies, and forced them to fight the B-1 battle droid, Horde, alone. To Vader, the battle was a chance for the Handmaidens to earn their places at his side and show them their own power. Overlooking their victory, Vader remained silent as Moore declared it as an example of their skills, which he promised would only grow under Vader's service. Shortly after, Irte discovered from one of the B-1's memory banks that Tambor command ship, in which she learned Sabe was being held, was 3 clicks to the south of their position. However, Tambor, ignoring Sabe's continued pleas that Vader would wipe out his refugee camp if he continued, sent 3 platoons of B-1s and a low-altitude assault transport infantry to attack a civilian village, hoping it would trap his enemies into the village's canyon and let him escape with Sabe. Both Vader and Moore understood the task was a trap, with Vader declaring it as an example of weakness that the Handmaidens would need to overcome. When the Handmaidens demanded that Vader assist them in aiding the populace, Vader elected to use them as a distraction, effectively turning them into his pawns so he could get to and corrupt Sabe and teach them another lesson. As they fought the B-1 Horde, he could slip past the droid's lines, leaving the Handmaidens to seize their true potential against a major enemy. Riding into battle on speeder bikes, Vader cut down the gunship but left the Handmaidens to the droids, cutting into Tambor's ship to save Sabe and confront the revolutionary. Inside Tambor's ship, Vader took position in front of Sabe's cage, but was met with the rebuilt G-90, who fired upon the Dark Lord before releasing magnetic spheres. Having deduced that Vader would attack with brute force, Tambor and the droid had created the spheres specifically to immobilize him via electrocution. However, the Handmaidens then arrived and used Irte's own magnetic devices to force down the spheres. Although Tambor and G-90 managed to flee by detaching the room from the rest of the ship while Vader recovered, the Sith Lord maintained that he had not betrayed the Handmaidens, instead declaring that he had granted them a chance to claim their true power, before force choking Irte and Dorme against the wall. Both had just realized Sabe from her cage and begged her to leave Vader's service, but Vader offered her a chance of creating order instead of allowing the innocent attacking Tambor to run free. As he made the offer, and the Handmaidens begged Sabe to turn back, Vader remembered his lived and idealized versions of the meeting with Padme on Mustafar, and with his son on Bespin. Sabe almost took Vader's hand, but was tackled and pulled out of the room by Dorme, while Irte and Sashay provided cover against Vader. Vader drew his lightsaber and pursued the Handmaidens outside, only for the group to take Sabe into the air with Irte's anti-gravity devices to an overheard Star Commuter 2000 as Vader watched on. The ship was in fact being piloted by Ochi, who had made a deal with the Handmaidens that they would convince Sabe to abandon Vader to make sure he would never see any of them again. However, Sabe believed her Handmaiden sisters did not have the tools needed to put a stop to Tambor's campaign, deciding the only way to save the civilians Tambor was on the cusp of attacking was to join Vader's violent crusade. She also decided that by staying with Vader, she could continue to bring about Padme's declaration that good still existed in Anakin Skywalker. Bidding her fellow Handmaidens goodbye, Sabe detached her anti-grav device to fall back to Vader, who guided her to the ground with the Force. While a force of stormtroopers had arrived via a Lambda-class T-4A shuttle and were firing upon the escaping Star Commuter, Vader called the assault off, declaring that the incident was over before walking back to the shuttle with Sabe at his side. The following day, returning to the Executor and receiving an update on Tambor's gunships, Vader made it clear to Piet that the campaign against Tambor was under Sabe's command. Ordering her own shuttle be prepared for departure, Sabe engineered the downfall of Tambor without even killing the Skekkoan. Contacting the revolutionary, she claimed that 12 Skigoan refugees, whom were actually in the same room as her, were imprisoned with Vader and his forces in the abandoned village of Cantima, which Tambor quickly bombed. Seeing that the men they thought would protect them was willing to throw away their lives and then brag about his coming rule, the people of Skako Minor quickly abandoned and revolted against Tambor's crusade. With that, the Empire granted all his refugees amnesty and began an armistice process of Skako Minor. After Tambor's droid army was wiped out, Sabe reported her successes to Vader, who meditated and accepted her rationale for not killing Tambor, as doing so would have made the Skakoan a martyr and cost hundreds of lives. Still, Vader felt the need to correct her by claiming they were bringing order, not mere peace. He also inquired to her about how she felt about the power at her fingers, telling her she would continue to grow stronger as she remained in his service. However, Sabe remained convinced that her fellow handmaidens, dismissed by Vader as weak, had only left because they did not know he was Anakin Skywalker. Before leaving the room, Sabe declared it was meant she was the only one present who had to lose their soul by staying under his command. Feeling a pain and losing control of the Force, as the Force wave returned, Vader declared to himself that Sabe was wrong in thinking she was the only one who had to lose her soul in return for the future they were working towards. Vader was unable to control the Force, as his powers began to tear apart the Executor, thereby presenting another threat to the Empire, himself. So what did you guys think of Vader corrupting Padme's duplicate Sabe? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel,